Hi, I'm Celeste Ducharme, coming to you live from the ranch, here at Ranch RV Self Storage. And I'm so excited today to be able to introduce to you an amazing entrepreneur right here from our Inland Empire Valley. And I'm going to have Gerren tell you a little bit about new season properties and how it got into this industry.
Thank you, Celeste. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, it's kind of an interesting path. When I got out of college, I went into the resort and lodging industry, and so hospitality, and it was a great run. Was with that industry for a little over 6 years, and then I got into another role after that for about 6 years, which was a great segue into property management, where I wanted to have my own business. And I met a friend that he and his family had been building apartments and had been managing properties since the 60s. And so we hit it off really well, and when the market was down and investors started coming in and buying up a lot of these properties, it was a good opportunity for me to jump in. It was back in 2008, 2009, and so we just kind of hit the ground running and working with him, rehabbing properties, and next thing I know, here we are, 11, 12 years later, and been building a management business. It's been great.
Excellent. To have over 11 years of experience in an entrepreneurship as you do, and that you're an expert in hospitality, wow, I bet you really bring it with property management. So, I don't just put a for rent sign, right, up in my front yard. I mean, years ago, I think I used to see those. We drag neighborhoods and look for what's for rent. But the liability, particularly of doing that, of taking on the responsibility of you having to manage that. So tell me a little insight about why it's so much more important today in today's times, particularly to have an expert like you overseeing my property management for my property.
Yeah, that's a great point. So people still do put the for rent signs out, and they still do manage the properties. But the one thing I can say, especially being in California, there's so many new laws that come out every single year. And if you're not up to that, up to speed with what's going on with fair housing, American with Disabilities Act, different things like that, especially now even with COVID, there's signs you have to post, there's documents you have to sign even just to go into a property. The liability, like you said, is very, specific, especially in California. So it is good to have a management company that we're constantly learning and trying to stay up with that. We listen to seminars, listen to attorneys talk every year on what are the new laws, and so it's definitely something you want to stay up on.
Excellent. And as a property owner, if I did down the road decide to sell, how does that work with you as a property manager? How do you work with the client that's in the house?
So that's a really good question too, because it just depends on really what the situation is, but more often than not, the tenants are planning on staying there and being there for a while, but situations happen where owners are deciding like, hey, I want to sell. So it's an interesting conversation that we have to have when we pick up the phone and call the tenant. So we actually call them, and we keep it in mind as if it was us that were going through that situation, because all of a sudden now they're being dislocated, they're having to be transplanted, right? And so, but what we try to do is go to them and say, hey, we might have something that would work for you, something that's coming up, and you really want to work with them because depending on the realtor, which I work with a lot of realtors, they're going to want to come in and just sell the home, so we have to really keep be conscious of what the tenants are feeling and what they're going through, and so that's something we can do is we can kind of bridge that gap with the tenant, because it is kind of tough on them, especially when they first hear the news, and it stresses them out. But then we're there. We say, hey, we're going to help you the best we can to get through this time. We're going to try and find you something that would work for you as well. And usually within a few days or something, now they're starting to kind of figure out, okay, how do we go about it? Because it is kind of tough, especially if people are going to start walking through and look at the house.
Of course. And I know currently right now, applying for rental properties. I just know that you can be assured ease and grace with Gerren as he assists you through the application process. It's really stressful right now trying to be a renter and find a place. And I know you're able to help with that situation and make it a little bit easier. So
absolutely. The rental market right now is absolutely going crazy, and it has been all through COVID from what I've seen. And it's a supply and demand issue. There's a lot of demand. The supply is low. But when you're looking at a rental property, each management company or owner has some sort of criteria. Ours is very specific. It's a step-by-step process right on our website. And for those that follow that process, they're the ones that we get to their applications and we connect with them right away, and we start processing right away, because we literally get hundreds of calls, every day, and emails and things, so that's why we have to have a very systematic process, which it works really well. So as long as people follow that, and whatever management company you're working with to get a property to follow their process, and that's the best way to go about it.
And if you want to work with number one, the best, you want to reach out to Gerren. So I want to thank you so much for being here today. And please tell our audience how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have our website. It's newseasonproperties.com. There is no S on the end of season, and properties ends with TIES, so newseasonproperties.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us, and be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thanks so much for joining us today at the ranch. Bye for now.
Bye.